Hi, my name is Aaron Reuter, and this is a masterclass presentation on mastering the chess opening. The goal of this presentation is to make sure those with a core fundamental understanding of chess are able to win as many games as possible via a strong opening and developing their pieces as expected. So, to do this, we want to make sure that we are doing the four fundamental things. We are controlling the center of the table, which gives us a position of both offense and defense. We are developing our pieces properly, which is moving them in a offensive position, specifically in a opening towards the center of the table. And the opening, we want to make sure we avoid moving our queen for two reasons. One of which being that it is our most valuable piece, and any form of blunder of said queen will most likely cost us a loss in any game. And secondly, it will also allow us to move it whenever possible in a as it is able to move around most of the board. Lastly, by castling the king, we are able to put it in the most defensive position possible at the corner in the G or B position. This will make it more difficult for black to threaten our position. We will be doing this as a presentation through my favorite opening, the King's Gambit. So in the King's Gambit, we originally start by putting our e-pawn into the e4 position, which is controlling the center of the table. Black will then follow up by doing the same thing by putting their pawn in the e5 position. We will then follow up by a somewhat unconventional move by offering black our gf pawn. While this may seem like an unconventional move, we are following our own previous comments by now controlling the center of the table via control of the center pawn, which is a valuable position. So, assuming black takes, we can then follow this up by putting our knight into the f3 position. Black can then follow this up by protecting their own f4 pawn, while also protecting their own pawn via their queen. We can then follow this up with attack on the g4 pawn, sorry, the g5 pawn. And while this may seem like a thing, we are now protected on two positions, that being the knight and the rook. This brings up another key fundamental thing in chess, which is making sure to protect our threatened pieces. So, assuming black does the most optimal decision and decides to instead threaten our knight, we can then move away into the center of the table by putting ourselves in the e5 position. Black can then go ahead and protect and threaten our e-pawns, or sorry, our four pawns at the e4 and g4 position by putting their knight at the um, f6 position. However, we now do the most important move of the King's Gambit by following up by putting our white bishop on c4. This does three things for us. For one, it is now doing one of our most important aspects of chess, controlling the center of the board. We have three pieces of material in the center of the board, along with 7 points of positional material, that being three from our bishop, three from our knight, and one from our pawn, whereas white only has 1 point of material in the center of the table, that being 1 point from their pawn. This also allows us to threaten the weak side king's pawn at the f7 position via our bishop and our knight. And lastly, we are now able to do one of our other core fundamental rules, which is to castle. We are now able to castle at the g4 position or g1 position, and that also is able to threaten the f4 pawn via our now castled rook. So, as a summary of what the King's Gambit Open has bought us after going through these turns, we are now in control of the center of the table via our 7 points of material to Black's 1 point of material. We are now have successfully developed our pieces forward, that being 8 points of material from our two pawns, our 3 points of material from our bishop, and our 3 points of material from our knight, versus Black's 5 points of material from its knight and two pawns. We have avoided moving our queen because it is not necessary. And lastly, we have been able to castle our king, or we have the ability to castle our king. Apologies. So, and last thing I want to do is just show some other successful opening sets for both white and black and show as they can win percentage. These are the most respected positional openings for a chess game and are great sources of tools if you want to use them in the future. Thank you very much.